guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I've got a special guest joining me. It's my daughter Taylor and my new grandbaby Zach. So here he is, everybody. He's 3 months old now, and I just want to thank everybody for all your well wishes on. So we're going to do a version of this one called Sanctuary. I painted this one last year, and my daughter's been requesting to do a painting with me, so we're going to do some mother-daughter art therapy today together, and a more colorful version of this one. We're going to be putting some more blues and purples and just playing up on color a lot in this one. So excited to get started. Now beforehand, I primed these with 1 coat of gesso, waited for it to dry, and then I began pouring out the colors that we were going to use for the background, starting off with neon yellow and light green. Then we're going to add some hunter green. You'll need a large blending brush, and you're beginning by taking some of the neon yellow and just brushing all over the background. And we're going to take a little bit of the titanium white and softly blend some of that into the yellow. This will just help to create a really nice soft glow in the background. Now let's take some of the light green and we're going to stipple in, so just lightly tapping with your blending brush on the bottom, some of the branches starting on the edge of the canvas and then tapping in towards the center. And here we turned our brush the other way and tapped straight up and down. And all we're doing is just creating some more foliage back in the distance. And then you can pull and flick very softly, giving the illusion of some tree trunks or some drippy moss back there. Now taking some more of that light green, we're going to start laying out the ground in the forest and place our path underneath. And we're going to stipple in again some more bushes that are going up on a slant on the left side. And now I'm going to press, pull, and flick, turning the brush the other way to create some tree trunks back there, which we'll be making darker in a few minutes. It's a good idea just to lay out the basic shapes beforehand. So I just lightly do this first in a lighter color. And now let's take both greens, the hunter and the light green, tap them together to blend. And let's start adding some shadows. So we're creating a little scoop effect at the top. And then we'll build up the shadow on the side. And we'll continue to do this in the center and across. And then up on those tree trunks. You can use a smaller brush for those if you like, but this works just fine. Now we're going to pour out some of that light purple violet, it's Neon by Holbein, and some sky blue. Now these two colors blended together are so pretty. Let's also take some neon pink and some neon orange. You know I love my neons. So first with a flat brush, we're gonna mix sky blue and the purple. Now I'm not really blending them a lot on the palette first. I want them to naturally fall and blend where they do on these tree trunks, just naturally. So we get different tones in different areas. And then you can blend a little bit more if you like to get more of a solid color. And we're going to layer this on top of the green. And pull up inside all of these tree trunks. So you can see some of them will have a little bit more blue in them and others will have a little bit more purple. And then layered upon that green, some of them will have, in some areas, it'll be more of an earth tone, more of a brown. It's time to take some neon orange and titanium white and add some warm patches up in the sky. So we'll add a little bit more here on the right side. And it's up to you how warm you want yours to be. You can add a little bit more neon orange if you like. If you want it to be a bit softer, just pick up a bit more of that white. Well, Taylor and I were just having so much fun painting together. It's been a long time since we've done this. Since she's had the baby, it's been really busy and she's had a lot on the go with, you know, just taking care of Zach, and she hasn't had a lot of time for herself. So it was really nice to be able to do this together. This painting took a total of 3 to 4 days. So I had to speed it up, but I'm sure that you guys can get all these steps in here, and I'm going to post all the supplies and everything we used in the description box below, like I always do. And if you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to ask me. I love hearing from you guys. I love answering all your questions and seeing your comments. But yeah, we were really lucky that she has such a good baby. Baby Zach was awesome during this painting little party that we had. He has just been such a blessing. He's such a good baby, and he's always so full of smiles. So we're definitely going to be doing this more often. I'm thinking a monthly thing we're going to do. And it's such a nice thing to do with your mom or your best friend or your sister or whoever you want to join you. I recommend having a little painting party. It's just such great therapy. Art heals. You guys know how strongly I feel about this. I've taught for many, many years, and I really believe in the healing process with art and painting. So we're going to be doing this on a monthly basis. Let me know if you guys have any requests of what you'd like to see Taylor and I paint next. We really, really enjoy painting landscapes. So if there's something that you have in mind, let us know. You can send me a picture through my Facebook art page, Joni Young Art, and as well as Instagram. And it's the same name, Joni Young Art. And if we choose your image, we'll give you a shout out and do our best to do that painting for you. So we're just tapping in the base layer, the underpainting for our foliage, and some more shadow.
This neon purple violet is so complementary with the green. So we're going to tap along using the blending brush along the edge and purple on the bottom and right up to the path on either side. This is going to be a very nice shadow and complementary to all the other colors that we're going to be bringing in. So Taylor really wanted to play up on the color a lot more from the original painting I did of this called Sanctuary, and I am all for that. You guys know how much I love color, and she does just as much as I do, so it's really fun. We can get carried away with color. We don't hold back at all, and you'll see the process through the next little while. I think this is probably going to be one of the longest videos that I've ever made, but I've just been looking back at all my videos that I've been posting, and you guys are watching the long ones that I'm posting, so I know that you guys are really enjoying this content, and giving you guys these longer videos helps you see all the steps. Even if it's sped up a little bit, you guys can still see what we're doing. You can still see the colors we're using, the brushes we're using. So these are not time lapses. They're just slightly sped up for you. So you're not really missing anything. And like I said before, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. So now we're taking a mop brush, hunter green, and we're going to tap lightly over top and layer over that purple. Now you don't want to cover up all the purple, you want to leave some of that purple showing, of course. So you're just going to tap lightly, you don't want it to be solid, you want those little spaces showing through. So you can see some hints of branches starting to take shape here. And we're getting that nice glow from the light green in the background, the light yellow. It's all starting to take shape and come together. So it's all about layering up, really building those layers and taking the time. Art will really teach you patience. Learning to paint helps you, with your patience. I used to paint really, really fast, and I just wanted to get to the end result really quickly, and it would never look how I wanted it to look, and I would, end up just throwing paintings away, and I never understood. I had to really take my time. You can't skip these steps, you can't skip these layers, or you're not going to be happy with your end result. Okay, so I just decided I want to add a little bit more of that purple right in here. I want this to be very, very rich. And I've mentioned before to you guys that this purple, the specific brand from Whole Bean, and no, I'm not sponsored by them at all. I just really love it, and I always share products that I love with you guys. This one is so beautiful. It looks like suede or velvet when it dries. So this is going to be a really bold, rich color that we're adding to this painting. It's going to make all the other colors stand out, and you can use other substitutes for the colors we're using today, but that one, I really recommend you guys try to find it, okay? So I'll try to have a link below in the description. If you're from the UK or outside of Canada and the United States, you might have a little bit of trouble finding it. I know some of my students have been asking where they can find it, so you may be able to find something similar, and if you do, let me know. I'm always looking for new brands and new paints to try. So we're coming in with the shape of our big tree on the right, and we're doing the underpainting in green like we did our foliage, and we're just using a flat brush for this. Now once we have the tree filled in with green, and you can see it's kind of see-through, it doesn't have to be really, really solid, we're going to layer over with that neon light purple violet, and then we're going to take some neon red as well. So just watch how we layer this up, and of course when it dries it's going to be slightly darker, so always keep that in mind. But definitely having that coat of gesso before you begin, priming your canvas with gesso, will really help keep your colors nice and bright, and it prevents them from soaking into the canvas and becoming dull and dark later on. So that's one step you really don't want to skip, you guys. It's very, very important to do that. So follow along with that neon purple violet over top of your tree trunk and that one main branch that's coming out at the bottom. Okay, so here we are, it's day 2, and we are going to begin with yellow, neon yellow, and light green. You can see we added some red over top of that tree trunk yesterday, and it's looking really beautiful. And let's take some of phthalo blue and some hunter green, and some more of that beautiful light purple violet. So after painting for 2 to 3 hours yesterday, thankfully Zach was such a good boy and he slept lots, and we were able to get quite a bit done. We are going to begin working on this foliage and building this painting up. So we're coming in with a round brush, and we're going to lay out the main branches, the thicker branches, which took a lot of time actually. And then after we use the round brush for the thicker branches, we're going to be coming in with all the smaller branches, the more delicate ones, and we'll be switching over to a liner brush for that. And when you use a liner brush, you definitely need a lot of water. You need equal parts, 50-50 water and paint, okay you guys? Because it just will not flow nicely. And we also want these branches, some of them, to be a little bit see-through and lighter in color. So a way to do that, instead of using white, we don't want to use white because then it may make like a light pink color, and I don't really want that for these branches. So just go to water when you want something to be, when you want the same color but you just want it to be a little bit thinner and transparent. So yeah, we're going to come in with quite a few branches here. And a really good tip and trick for painting branches, because I know a lot of people get very, very nervous about painting branches and using liner brushes, is just twist. You can look in my fingers how I'm holding the brush, and I'm kind of twisting my fingers to roll that brush around, and I'm wiggling. So if you pull, these 3 things, you need to pull, wiggle, and twist all at the same time, you'll have the best looking, most natural looking branches. So those are 3 steps you need to do for branches, okay you guys? And maybe in the future I'll do a tutorial specifically on how to paint tree branches and break it down into those steps. But yeah, so we're going to come in with all these little branches, and we're going to really start building up the foreground. We'll be painting some hanging moss, just dripping off those branches and wrapping around the tree, creating a really, really beautiful, enchanted looking forest. Living here on Gabriola Island, there's a gorgeous forest. It's an ancient forest, and it's called the Elder Cedar. So this painting is inspired by hiking through the Elder Cedar Forest. It's very, very beautiful, and the energy that you feel when you're walking through there is like nothing I can even explain. It's just very invigorating, and it's another place I love to go to just think and walk with my puppy and my husband, and Taylor loves it there too. It's one of her favorite spots. And there's just moss growing on everything. Everything's so green and pure, and the air just feels so fresh there. There's really neat mushrooms all over the place. Some people will just create little fairy doors too that are really neat. You just never know what you're going to find there. It's always an adventure. There's huge ferns growing on either side of the path, just like this. And the dirt and the ground that you're walking on the path has a really nice red earth tone, bright red, and there's like a little pond. There's neat little ponds everywhere, and it's just it really feels magical when you're walking through it. So I wanted to try my best to convey that through this painting. And of course play up on the colors like I love to do. But colors really help to invoke a feeling too. I love to use colors to express myself through my paintings. So here we are switching over to a liner brush. I'm choosing a longer one, and I'm getting water, and I'm pulling in some of the red. I'm dirtying it up a little bit with that purple, and twisting, wiggling, and rolling, shaking it a little bit. Now taking a mop brush and phthalo blue and hunter green, we're going to start coming in with some foliage on the sides. So we begin tapping on the left and the right side, building those colors and layers up, not completely covering up any of them. You guys can see Taylor's keeping up very well. She's a wonderful artist herself. I taught her to paint at the age of 3, as soon as she could hold a paintbrush, and she has just loved painting her whole life. And I can't wait till baby Zach is old enough so Taylor and I can start teaching him how to paint as well. So just a little bit up here on the top of the tree on the right side, and tap diagonally and have it join into that branch, or those branches I should say. Now let's take some light blue violet using our round brush, and I want to add a few branches using this color. We've got a lot of warm tones going on in this painting with that red and that purple, so it's nice to balance it out with some cool tones, and that's what this color definitely will do. If you don't have this color, all it is ultramarine blue mixed with a bit of titanium white. So for our next step, we're going to take that mop brush again, and we're going to pinch it. We want to make it skinny. So we're taking some hunter green and a little bit of that light green. We're going to, like I said, pinch it to make it skinny, and tap lightly on the branch and down that tree. So we're making it look textured and building up that foliage, and it slightly looks 3D. So you don't need to have a small brush and do every little leaf and every little piece of moss one brush stroke at a time. You can do this all at once by using one of these mop brushes. We are going to switch over to a Filbert brush after for just a little bit more detail, so we can get in narrower spaces more easily. So using the same brush, we're going to pick up some of the light green now and begin highlighting. So you just want to overlap part of the dark green, but not completely cover it. You want to add just a little bit on and above those branches as well, just building up that foliage on there. And this is moss growing up the tree and some vines, maybe some climbing ivy. We're just going to carry out some of those little vines midway down the tree towards the bottom and the base. And then they're going to eventually turn into some ferns with some more ivy all coming down at the base of the tree. And then just dry brush a little bit of that green on top of the tree and right behind it. Now taking a liner brush, we're going to pull in some really skinny vines and branches back here. Now we're using red. You can use red, neon of course, neon orange. Even a bit of neon pink would be nice too. And then I pull down and flick for for some hanging vines and maybe some leaves and old moss just dripping off of those branches. Now I'm going to take some neon yellow and mix that with the red and the orange and add some more color to these little branches. Back to my Filbert brush. Let's take some hunter green and some light green. Now using this brush, it's narrower on the end and I can get in those small spaces much more easily. Apply a little highlight. Now with a clean Filbert brush, we're going to take some neon yellow and apply a thin filter of that yellow over top of the other colors in the background. We're going to leave the center really nice and bright though and soft, but we just want to build up that glow and that color along the sides. Now you want to make sure that your background is fairly dry for this, otherwise you'll start mixing colors together and it won't be the same bright tone. And now back to our liner brush. We're going to add some more small branches on the ends of those larger branches. We'll just do a few more of these and then we'll start our next step. I think we're going to add some more moss dripping from the trees, and we're going to be using hunter green, and I'm mixing it up with some just a little bit of red just to dirty it up a little bit so it's not like a bright green. So you kind of tap, wiggle, and pull and flick. Okay, so it's time to start painting our ferns. We're going to take neon yellow and titanium white on a filbert brush. You want to flatten your brush down firmly, wiggle it, and get all of that paint on the very tip and edge of your brush. We're going to begin by the lightest spots in the back first. We're just going to tap in very lightly the suggestion of some ferns and some little leaves back there. So you want to create little lines. And you can do this easily just by tapping with the end of the brush for your lines. And then we want to have some movement in our ferns, so I'm changing the directions of the lines as I place the brush down. So we're going to start really small in the background as they're farther away, and then each fern will get larger and larger towards us in the foreground. And so the ferns in the foreground are going to be the biggest ones and the most defined. This was Taylor's very first time painting ferns, and she was quite nervous, but she did an excellent job, as you can see. She's such a natural. I've been painting with her since she was 3 years old, like I said, and she took about a little over a year off of painting throughout her pregnancy, and she had a rough pregnancy, so she didn't have much energy to do a whole lot and took that long break, and this was her first painting in a really long time, so she's not even rusty at all. I was really impressed that she just kind of bounced right back into it like she had never put the brush down. So we're going to add some more color now, and we're using cool tones. I'm taking some phthalo blue, some of the purple violet, and also some of the light ultramarine blue, and I'm sort of not really mixing them all together completely. I want little highlights and shadows of each color and tone to just end up where they do on the canvas. I don't want them to all be the exact same color, so I like them to naturally blend together on their own, kind of organically on the canvas. So I'm going to apply all these really pretty colors and tones on the left side. As you can see, we're bringing it up on the edge, up the left side, those blues and purples. So any kind of blue and purple that you want to add will look really, really beautiful. You don't have to use these exact same colors that we did. And then I'm going to add a little bit of that on the right side too. And I'm going to start building up some more ferns now and foliage, maybe some ivy in here. And I'm starting to use some turquoise as well. So we're progressing nicely here along with our foliage. This is the most detail in the entire painting, so it is taking quite some time. I'm speeding it up a little bit. Hopefully you guys are able to see everything we're doing and I'm not missing too many steps here for you guys. If you have any questions, let me know, of course, like I mentioned earlier. We're slowly working our way up to the foreground, one fern at a time, one leaf at a time. We're playing around with a few different brushes too, so that not everything is the same, and I want Taylor to be experimenting with different brushes to see which ones she likes best when creating ferns. So you'll notice throughout the process that I change from the Filbert. I end up using a liner brush for some of them, and I actually really liked that. It was easier than I thought it would be. And a mini fan brush, believe it or not, was excellent to use. So if you guys are not comfortable with one of these brushes, then you can switch and try any one of those. So again, the liner, the fan, the Filbert will all work quite well. It's just about finding the one that works best for you and that you're most comfortable with. So my process of painting these ferns is I start painting them with more of a white base first. I tint them with yellow or with green or with turquoise, so they're going to be quite bright. And then after, my plan is to let that dry, and then after I come over with a filter of different shades using like a dry brush of different shades of colors, so it just looks a lot more interesting, and it's really quite fun to add filters over your paintings. So I know there's a lot of artists out there, including myself. We do a grayscale painting first sometimes. So we just take, black and white, and we do the entire landscape or whatever subject we're working on. We paint it all in black and white first, wait for it to dry, and then we come in after with color. And it's a really fun type of way to paint, and you guys should try it sometime. It's really, really cool. It's interesting to see it go from black and white to color like that. Okay, so now you'll notice that our ferns we're painting are increasing in size. We're making them larger as they get closer to us. And it's a lot easier to paint these ferns bigger than it is to paint them smaller. Though I've been getting my practice lately with my series of mini paintings that I've been working on. And I am going to be doing some more of those very soon. So for a list of all the colors and brushes, supplies we're using today, I'm going to be I'll write everything in the description below for you guys. And if you're still not sure about what I'm using, I don't mind answering your questions. Just leave a comment below and I'll answer you right away as soon as I can. I make it a point to be on my YouTube quite often so that I can keep up with you guys and all your questions you have. So at this point, this is where I get really excited about the painting. I feel like it's really come to life, and as these ferns are getting bigger and bigger, you almost feel like you're on that path and you're stepping into it, and you can just picture yourself right there. I was really excited about doing this painting with my daughter for you guys so you can see how interesting it is painting side by side next to somebody and their version of a tree and your version of a tree. They're very similar, but there's just those little differences that make it so interesting. And that was the one thing that I really loved about teaching my classes. Sometimes I would have up to 24 students, and at the end of the class they would all stand in a row and put the paintings right next to each other, and it would be just so interesting to see all those little differences. Everything's the same, but yet it's not. I just love doing that. I love seeing it at the end, but this is really cool. I've never videotaped the process before of having my student right next to me and watching it all take shape through a video like this. I think what I'd really love to do in the future is together with Taylor, we could paint a mural in Zach's room, and we could both work on that together, something similar to this. Maybe we could incorporate some animals, maybe some birds, some butterflies. I don't know if you guys have any other ideas, let me know, but I was just thinking that right now, how fun that would be. So that's something we might do in the future. We could do a whole video on painting a mural for Zach's room. I think one of my favorite things about working on this specific painting with Taylor is that we both really, really love this part of the island that we live on, and this hike in particular, the Elder Cedar Forest. This trail is really beautiful. I know I talk about it quite a bit, but honestly, you guys, you need to come to Vancouver Island. If you've never been to Vancouver Island, the Gulf Islands, there's nothing else quite like it. All of Canada is beautiful, but I highly recommend coming to visit the Gulf Islands and seeing all the beautiful forests. There's Cathedral Grove. We've been through there. I've done a few paintings from that. It was very, very inspiring. And of course, then there's all the beautiful beaches. And you can go whale watching. We've seen a few whales, even some dolphins, lots of sea lions, and blue herons. I've painted I've painted a couple of blue herons before. They're one of my favorite birds. Zach just woke up from a nap and he's a little bit hungry and a little bit grumpy, so Just gonna take a bit of a break, let Taylor work on her ferns here, and I'm gonna pick Zach up and warm up a bottle for him. I think it's a good idea that I take a break at this time anyways, because honestly, like, my eyes were starting to get kind of sore and my back was getting sore. Oh, there he is. Hi, Zach. I needed a little bit of a break. I usually just paint by myself, but I have had a lot of painting parties, and those can be really, really fun. I used to host wine and painting nights at the bars and the pubs. Those are always a really, really fun thing to do. And I had private little painting parties at my home. And you know, you would serve like fancy meats and cheeses and little hors d'oeuvres and have everything set up for people, and they could buy tickets. And sometimes I just had them for my friends and my family, just for fun. But I think out of everybody that I've painted with, Taylor's got to be my favorite painting buddy. Do you guys have, any of you guys out there have a certain person, like your favorite painting buddy that you just love to paint with? There's just some people out there where you can just kind of feed off of each other's creativity. And I think Taylor and I kind of do that for each other. We've always been really close. It's nice when you have a close relationship with your mother or your daughter. And it really helps to share the love of art. So I'm switching over to the fan brush now, and I'm going to work on a few ferns here using this brush, and you can see how it's almost instant and effortless. So if you just find the right brush that works for you, it will feel effortless, like you're just one with the painting and one with the brush. So we're just adding the last few ferns, the last details of this painting. And I love, love, love how these have turned out. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to paint with her again. I'm not sure what we're going to paint next, but I'm sure it's going to be fun. So I'm asking you guys for your help. If you have any suggestions, give us an idea of what we should paint next. And if we choose your idea, then we'll give you a shout out in our next video.
So here we are, all finished. What do you guys think? I think they turned out pretty good. What do you think, Taylor?
Yeah, I really like the way they turned out. I'm happy with it.
And you can see the original one that inspired these pieces on the wall. right here. So the color was played up a lot more in this one that we've done. I would say I like one more than the other. I think they're both really nice. And we had, Taylor's just gonna grab baby Zach, and I'm gonna hold hers up so you can see how pretty they look together. I think Taylor did a wonderful job. We had a lot of fun doing this, and I can't wait for our next painting session. What do you think? You want to do this again in a month, Taylor? Should we do this on a monthly basis?
Yeah, I think so.
What do you guys think? Did you enjoy watching this one today? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget, what do you think? What do you think, Zach? Do you think that we should, paint again? Have
Which
another
one do you
painting
like
party?
better?
Which one do you like better, Zach? Let us know what you guys thought of this, and don't forget to like, comment, and share, and hit that subscribe and notification bell so you get notified each and every time I post a brand new video. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope you like this special edition. Bye. Bye from Taylor and Zach and I. See you next time. Happy painting, everybody.